Get good? That's the best insult you guys could throw? I was whining that I wanted Doom Eternal to be more like Doom 2016. You should have mocked me by saying, why can't this be more like the thing that I remember? That would have been a proper insult. Now we move on to Doom Eternal DLC. I did swear off downloadable content years ago, but that just pertained to multiplayer junk. The Ancient Gods expand Doom Eternal much like Thy Flesh Consumed expanded Classic Doom. Hey Storm, if you had so many problems with the base game, why would you bother playing the DLC? Well, I happened to pre-order Doom Eternal Deluxe Edition, and that came with a season pass for this. So the answer is, because I already paid for it.
There's a reason the title music is the Icon of Sin from Doom 2. I excluded the later details of Doom Eternal to avoid spoilers, but screw it, it's been 7 months, I'm gonna talk. Doomslayer headshot all the makers in Not Heaven, and a mysterious voice yells. They had awoken the Icon of Sin, and it took more than 5 rockets to its exposed brain to take it down. Yep, it turns out the Icon of Sin was the final boss. So, who's gonna be the boss of Doom Eternal? Well, certainly not the Icon of Sin. And something that I was particularly satisfied with, I finally got that guided tour of hell promised in the 90s. The Ancient Gods begins with an all-text recap as the Slayer arrives on an Ark carrier. No explanation of how he got there, or what's going on at the Fortress of Doom. This is just assumed to be your next step. Ark was the complex you broke into last time to grab the remains of Samuel Hayden, and met the first of my newest best friend, the Marauder. The president of the Slayers Club shows up again. Remember him? Though he was a scientist before, he's been kicked down to intern. Killing the Khan Maker has left the realm in pandemonium, and we have to find one of the old makers, the Seraphim, hence Ancient Gods, to balance the chaos that threatens all of creation. And we're not talking about the cool Seraph. Just to throw in a non sequitur, I'm not too sad about missing the pre-orders for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series because I'm pretty content with what my graphics card can do. Of course, that video card costs about as much as both consoles combined. Once again, I gotta give it up to id for their attention to detail and standards for graphical quality. I forgot how good this game looked. The first level of the Ancient Ones Part God is the Union Aerospace Corporation Atlantica facility in the middle of the ocean. Why the Seraphim would be here, and why the Ark Teleporter has to put you at the ass end of it, I have no clue. But if we didn't have this, we wouldn't have a game to play. First enemy I encounter, a Mancubus. Gee, that sounds like a certain megawatt I criticized a while back. This is actually okay. While this is the first level of the Ancient Gods, it's really like the 14th level of Doom Eternal, because you have all the weapons upgrades, suit upgrades, and runes you earned in the main campaign. No Metroid priming around here. The immediacy of the need for colored keys reminds me of classic Doom, and the UAC base reminded me of Doom 2016. I almost began tearing up when I rounded this corner and saw the railing, so much like that long march to the Argent facility. Man, that was such a superior game. But walking around this corner spawned an archvile and brought me right back to running in circles trying to beat Doom monsters. Yeah, same game, same problems. You know that praise trailer for Doom Eternal? It pulls a quote of, "You feel like an unstoppable force of nature."
Wrong.
A shooter where the central component is turning your back on the bad guy to fill your ammo satchel? Nah, that's designed to be stopped. So, if you like the terrible gameplay design before, know that the tradition continues. As you work further into the base, you'll find the combat section kicked off by count 'em, two Marauders, breaking every Doom convention in double time. Because you know how it goes. When you make a mistake, rather than admit fault, just double down and argue harder. Heh, married guys know what I'm talking about.
Can I get a hell yeah?
I didn't hate that room as much as you may think. I was able to delay the fight because I got into the room before it finished loading. Yeah, you don't mess with the QA department. Have Huge Storm and I run that into the ground yet? Why don't I try playing Doom with a Wii Zapper? That joke never went out of style. Closing out the level, you head underwater. What is with this insistence on shooters going swimming? It's never a good time. Further insulting, the Slayer now has to have oxygen tanks. What's the point of having a power suit? Whoa, avoid the shark. Don't go all Call of Duty Ghost on me. After finding the Seraphim, you're off to find the orb of the most evil entity of entities. You're going back to hell, in the Blood Swamps. There was already a Blood Falls, so why not? Oh, and it was previously mentioned in Doom Eternal. This actually made me smile. The moment I landed, I thought, this is the type of environment that has never been explored in the Doom universe, yet it fits perfectly. Hearing the bullfrogs croak in the background was comforting. It reminded me of Donkey Kong Country 2 and its slightly less insane difficulty. Hearing the bullfrogs croaking in the background was disturbing. Even frogs go to hell? Hard nipples. There were some fun mechanics employed here. 2 diverging paths to separate trials, and following a King Norvik hound to escape deadly fog, though one combat zone saddened me. This sequel has really devalued the concept of a cyber demon. I know they renamed it the Tyrant, but it was designed to look like the classic cyber demon, because people were saying, "Why can't this be more like the thing that I remember?" Sounds oddly familiar. And the Ancient Gods is just throwing them at you. Tough to bring down, but a far cry from the fear Tower of Babel would invoke. After you get the orb, you have to get it summoned at the Holt, a forest-like area of Urdak. Yeah, I'm giving away all the levels, but the Steam post had no beef advertising this as part of the update. Partway into the Holt, I had once again had it. Enough of this Dark Souls shit! What is happening at id? Are the creative directors looking at each other puzzled saying, "Oh, I don't get it. Somehow players are still able to beat Doom Eternal on Ultra Nightmare. Let's fix that in the DLC." I now laugh at 2 Marauders. How about a Marauder that is boosted on a buff totem, but to get access to the buff totem, you have to beat the boosted Marauder? Isn't that circular logic? Spirits, that look like the defunct summoner, possess monsters to supercharge health and attack. When the monster is finally taken down, better be quick on the Q key and have plenty of power cells to take it out. Makers that you just have to wait for their shield to drop. No, take your time. I don't mind getting shot in the love handles. Most of this isn't happening one-on-one. It's just normal barrage combat. This isn't so much about difficulty. How far do I have to go to prove this? Classic Doom on Ultraviolence? It was fun! I beat Doom 2016 on Ultraviolence on a console! I beat Wolfenstein The New Order on Uber! I can do difficult. This is just annoying! Oh, wonderful, a tyrant possessed by a spirit. I foresee multiple turnarounds to chainsaw low-tier zombies to cop some more ammo. Why do they even bother to have 3 slots of fuel? It's constantly in use. You'll never have the chance to save up in the hope to rip and tear through a Mancubus or Revenant. I wouldn't say I beat it as much as I'd say got through it. I clocked it at about 6 hours, and incidentally, without piss breaks. Actually, there was one break toward the end. After continually losing to the final boss, I raised and slammed the mouse on the desk as hard as I could in a blind rage, splitting the mouse into about 7 pieces, each flying in a different direction. I took a short break to procure another mouse. By the way, the end cutscene is predominantly featured in the trailer. Marketing team, don't do that. Before closing this out, I will say I definitely enjoy seeing a Doom universe being developed, which is something we all had to put above classic Doom. They just made it up as they went along. After Doom declared The End, it had a sequel and an expansion, then something called Final Doom, Master Levels, that Nintendo 64 poop. Oh, and recently Sigil, stepping all over its own legacy and no consideration for continuity. That said, I have no idea where this is going. A lot of the moves that the Doomslayer has made up to this point don't make any sense to me, especially this one. Alright, you summoned him. Now what? Judging how New Doom likes to mash the gas between releases, Part 2 will probably take place 6 months into the future, these events forgotten, and we'll be fighting demons that can cast regen.
And the craziest thing is, I'll be there ready to play it because I already paid for it.